Hi guys, and welcome to another product review, and a nice little short one this one's going to be, none of that 45-minute malarkey. This is a little wireless remote control accessory for the Feiyu-Tech G4S. Now the G4S has been out for a while. Anyone who hasn't seen my review video, by all means have a look. The link is in the description below. But basically when I got the G4S from Feiyu-Tech, they promised to send me a wireless remote with it. That never actually happened. Then they said it was all out of stock. Then they said they were going to send it. It never came about. So I've now realised that you can get them for very cheap now. They were about £30 to begin with. You can now pick them up for 15 quid. So I thought, you know what, I'll just grab one. I can do a review of it, and you know, useful bit of kit I think to have in your pocket when you're using your G4S. So with all that said, let's just do a quick unboxing. Nothing particularly special about it. Product manual. You've got a little dongle there, so you can see that is a little USB which plugs into the front USB port of your G4S. Inside there, I believe, yep, sure enough, there is a USB cable. If I can fish that out, I can't bother to fish that out. There we go. Right, that's the USB cable. Now that is a micro USB cable, and that is because if I just pop this out of its little foam container, you can see that that is the product itself. Micro USB port is there. So this has got an internal battery. I think you can open it up, but probably not very easy to do so. But an internal battery that you charge via a micro USB, and very simple in terms of design. Quite plasticky, but you know, a nice blue and black design. And you can see it's very simple in terms of operation. Basically, you've got the joystick here, which is a full motion joystick, just like you've got on the G4S itself, so you've got quite a decent range of motion there, a very similar feel to the actual joystick that's actually on the G4S. And then you've got the mode button there as well. So literally the only thing that you really need to do with this is on the back of your G4S you've got a USB port under that little rubber grommet. You plug this into it, that will then power this up, and basically there's a already linked together wireless connection between these two, and it just means that from that point on this will become your button, this will become your joystick. So not particularly rocket science in terms of you know, how it works, but what I'll do is I'll change angle now and we'll just show what it's like in motion, and I'll give you some comments as to whether I think it's worth the investment. Okay, so now we've got to a different angle. I should be able to demonstrate this little remote in a slightly better way. So all we've got to do is we just simply plug it into the front USB port, and you can see that's the fitment. So it does stick out a little bit, maybe a little bit more than I would like, but to be honest it feels fairly robust and rugged. I certainly wouldn't store the gimbal with this on. It won't fit in the case with this on anyway, so that's no bad thing in that respect. And I would say that it doesn't actually get in the way of your wrist as you're holding it. So all in all, fairly good in terms of the way that it fits on, fairly snug, fairly out of the way. So all you need to do, as per the instructions from Feiyu-Tech, is, and I'm just going to hold this so you can maybe see the light, half-second push will turn your remote on. So remote's on, and it should already be pre-paired to the device, and then we just hold the gimbal down, boom, and you can see gimbal is now initialized. And if I rotate it around, you'll now see that with the remote turned on, the joystick on the gimbal is completely null, and likewise the button is. Now that's an interesting point. So you don't have functionality whilst you're holding the gimbal. You can only use the remote to control it whilst it's actually paired up. Not necessarily a bad thing though. So let's just spin the camera around so I can give you a demonstration. So I mean, just like the joystick on the gimbal itself, if I do a left motion, it goes left, right, up, down, and let's say we wanted to go to mode 2, we just do a double tap, and that should now mean, yeah, we can tilt the camera down. If I single tap, again, that's in lock mode, and you can see the button and the light is fixed on, so the camera should now be in lock mode. Double tap again, and the camera should come up. So what's really nice, as I said before, the joystick is pretty much identical to the one that's actually on the back of it. It's got a decent range of motion, so you can actually do a quite nice slow pan, as you can see here. There we go. Quite nice to do that. Now it has got a 15 metre range. I personally wouldn't want to use it much more than about half a metre away from it. So it is using a wireless signal, so it could get some interference or something like that. But at the moment, I haven't seen any glitching, anything untowards in that respect. So all in all, you know, that's basically the operation of it. It's very nice, very neat little thing to have. Now, some people might say, well, you know, okay, there's a joystick on here and there's a button on here. Why would you need this? Why would you spend 15 quid for this? Well, there's two reasons really. Firstly, of course, if you're using something like this and you've got a extension pole, then you're going to be holding the base of the extension pole, and the button and the joystick are going to be so far out of your reach that you can't actually use it. So perfect for that operation. And of course you can put, you know, 2 or 3 of these extension poles on, so you can still use your camera from afar in that respect. But I think the other reason, and the one that actually I was quite surprised in the way that I liked it, was that when you're holding this gimbal, when you're actually using it in normal mode, if you press this button, you're going to be moving the camera. You know, you're going to see that jerk, that dunk dunk. And also with the GoPro microphone, you're actually picking up, sometimes you actually pick up the click, the double tap click. Now, it's not a major problem, but it's something that would be nice to avoid. And obviously if you're using this, what it means is that you can actually swap hands. So you've got this in your right hand side, down, or in your preferred hand, should I say, down by your side, and all you've got to do is just hold the camera in one hand, and then you're just going to be using that to get the motion that you want, to get the angle that you want, and then you're going to be using this down by your side, out of the way, to actually get, you know, the rotation and the movement that you do. Now, I don't use the joystick a huge amount, even when I am holding the gimbal. I tend to use my wrist more than I do the joystick, but to change modes and stuff like that, it's quite nice to know that I can just tap it and do that from afar, and it does give you the option of using that extension pole. So for the sake of 15 quid, I really do think it's actually worth the investment. I certainly will be keeping hold of this one. I think, you know, the two together works very nicely. Now, I should also mention that, well, a couple of things. Firstly, that this isn't just compatible with the G4S, this is also compatible with the MG, the G4, the G4QD, the G4 Pro, and the G4 Plus, which is quite nice. It also works with the WGS and the WG, so quite nice in terms of that. I believe you have to have a, yes, I think with an WG and WGS you actually have to buy a different one because it's got a micro USB connection, so bear that in mind. And obviously the Summon, which I recently reviewed, that has a micro USB port as well. Now, I don't know whether any of these remotes are compatible with that because it's supposed to have the app, so if I can find that out, obviously I will do. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that if for whatever reason it didn't pair with the remote control, there are instructions to do a pairing, so you can actually make them up. So quite a nice little bit of kit. I'm going to leave it at that. Not much point in talking more than that about this this remote. Like I say, 15 quid. I got mine from RC Geeks as a little add-on, and yeah, nice device. So thanks for watching. Hopefully that has been useful.